Hey, how's it going? This is It Made Clicks, a show in which I am answering your questions. Today I would like to share a little memory trick, a little brain hack with you, which I use in order to easily memorize a large sequence of poses. The question I've been asked was about a flow posing sequence. It was quite a while ago when we were on stage at an event called Photokina. Over there we were shooting cover photos of our lovely model Coxie Dominica. And it took me quite a while until I could meet up with Coxie again and shoot the material for a little guide. I've done that now, and now I would like to answer the question. Why is that important? Because in my kind of photography, nude, lingerie, boudoir, this kind of things, trust and confidence are very, very, very important. And at the beginning of the shooting, the model needs to build up confidence, and a lot of it. She needs to get the confidence that my photos of her are looking good, so it's confidence in me. It's also about self-confidence. She needs to look good on the photos. And for that, I want to produce some really good photos right up front. And in order to do so, I use a large number of poses that I bring her into, poses which are really trusted and tried. They work. There are poses with a large variety of expressions, poses for every body type, and poses for every taste. This is also good for clients because they usually lack the confidence and they need to see something, and they should like a lot of their own photos later on. So I want variety. Variety means a large sequence of poses. Now, how can I get to that? I have to search for poses, I have to select poses which have this variety, and then I have to bring them into a sequence which is easy to flow through, meaning from each pose to the next there should be only minimal differences between the pose itself, between how the model has to twist and turn her body. This way I can be fast posing her. My goal is to get the 30 poses done in 30 minutes, which is quite fast. But the main thing for most of us photographers is actually how can we recall 30 poses? Because selecting poses and then sorting them, everybody can do that. But what I see with many photographers when we were shooting together, for example, on such a stage, is once they are shooting, they cannot think of any of these poses. Same would be with me. I'm so terrible at learning something. Learning it by heart, it just doesn't work. I can't learn languages or anything. So I had to develop my tricks, and they also work for poses. The first thing that I do is I give the pose a name, because if I just have the image, it's hard for me to recall it, but recalling a name or a word-image combination, for me is much easier. So I give it a name, but I don't give it just any name. I look at the pose and I look what character, what letter I see graphically in the pose. I really think of the letter in the pose. And then I choose a name which starts with exactly that letter. For example, if the pose reminds me of a Y, then I name it Yeti, for example. If the pose reminds me of a P, then I call it pool. Or let's say I somehow see an A in the pose, then I might call it anchor. This way, if I can think of the word, then I've got the first letter, and this is roughly the graphical shape of the pose, then it's much easier for me to find the pose in my brain. But then I've got a list of, let's say, 30 names. How to learn 30 names? Well, it turns out this is easier than you might think. What I do is I bring these 30 names in exactly the sequence that I want to run through them into a little story. A hilarious story, really strange, but once I did that, I can recall it. Now let's say in our example it would be on a sunny day, the Yeti is jumping into the pool and at the bottom he finds an anchor. Once I came up with such a story, I never forget it anymore. I will know that in a week, a month, a year, no problem. I don't even have to learn it. It's hilarious. That's why it stays in my mind. And with that story, I can get back all the names, and with that, all the poses. I would say try it out. Get yourself a large sequence of poses that you want to run through. Have a look at them, what letters are in there. Just really imagine the letter there, name them, and then come up with a little hilarious story. You will see it's easier than you think. If you want to have the shortcut, then like I mentioned before, I did something with Coxie Dominica. I came up with a little posing guide, which I want to plug over here. It shows you the 30 poses that I use in the beginning of a shooting, and it shows you the names of it. It shows you the story I use to recall them, so you can replicate everything I do. With that said, I'd like you to try it out. And for that, like always, I wish you good light.